You're live.
All right. Welcome to the Any Key Radio Show. I'm your host, Kenny Any Key Moore. If you're new to the show, let me tell you what it's about. Any Key Radio Show is a place and platform for independent creatives. It's a podcast that was created to provide a platform for independent creative people. So I interview and spotlight the work of independent creatives in all genres of entertainment. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get started. My guest that's going to join me today is Reggie Parker. Reggie is a legendary bass player and artist for over 30 years. You've heard his grooves on countless gospel projects and on his own solo projects as well. He just released his new jazz project, Triple OG, and now he joins me to talk about it. Let's bring him on in.
What's
Reg,
up?
what's up, man? Welcome back. Thanks for being on. How's everything?
Man, I can't complain at all, man. At all.
For sure, for sure. Well, listen, again, it's a pleasure. So we're not going to take too much time. Let's get right into it. So listen, here's my first question. What do you like the most and what do you like the least about being a musician and a creative person?
Ooh, wow, that's a great question, bro.
Hey, I'm prepared. I'm with a legend, so I had to make sure.
So you said what's the thing I like the most? The thing I like the most would be that I get to share what's in my musical mind.
Mhm.
I don't have to rely on anybody else. Even though I need help in creating the songs, I need keyboard, drums,
Sure, sure.
but I get to share what's in my musical mind with the world, and I've been doing that since my days with Love Fellowship and James Hall and them back in the 90s, and I'm still able to do it now. What I like the least is, I mean, there's nothing I don't like about it, but I guess it kind of, the Bible says, so much is given, much is required. It kind of sometimes puts you feel kind of alone
Sure.
because a lot of people, a lot of musicians around you can't create anything. And for some reason, a lot of people just, they look at you as equal a lot of times. Well, a lot of times you're not equal. You got a gift that I can't do. I got a gift that you can't do. That we're not equal.
Mhm.
We might still be human beings, but we're not equal. We're not. And I think a lot of times when you can create, not just me but other creatives, it's a lonely journey sometimes. A lot of people around you can't create, and it can create jealousy and envy and not support because of the jealousy. And if some people aren't involved in your creativity, they quiet. But when they are, it's the greatest thing ever on earth. It's
Definitely.
people are a trip, Ken. Man, it's
No, no doubt.
we live in some really bad times. I don't know if we always lived in bad times like this, or if just social media just exposed more of it. But it's bad.
No question. Actually, you kind of touched on my next question. So, what would you say is the separator between a musician slash singer and a creative? I think that and you talked to it a little bit, but kind of dig into that a little more. What's the difference?
Two different things. You got those that they'll just, you look at those in the club scene. All they do is just duplicate other people's songs. They sit and sing the background parts to you got the best of my love, yearning for your love, can't hide love, all those songs every Saturday or every Sunday. That's all they do, and they're great at it. They're great at it. Everybody can't
Mhm.
do it. They're great at it. And then you got the musicians that sit and just duplicate and play other people's songs. And then you got people like me that get bored. I got bored. I did that before. I got bored doing that. I want to create my own sound. So that's the difference when you can say, you know what,
Mhm.
this is cool. I could play other people's stuff. I could sing other people's stuff, but I want to go play my own and create my own stuff. Everybody can't do that. So the ones that can, that's the difference. There is a huge difference.
Definitely, definitely. When did you know that you could start creating, or what's the memories of when you first started realizing that you could create your own music?
I was told by Nate McNair, the musical MD, when I was playing with Love Fellowship. He kept telling me, because I was so creative with melodies, that I should write music, but I just wasn't in my heart to do at the time.
Hmm.
But I was doing that. I was creating all
Absolutely,
these intros and not really knowing that they were
that's
special,
part of the process. Yeah.
right? But I was so naive to my own gift. I didn't realize I had a gift until years later. I guess when a friend of mine told me that you're gifted, man. A lot of people can't do what you do, and that's when I recorded my first album, Snapshots, and that's when I started to realize that I had a gift. My mother always told me that I was gifted. She don't hear other bass players sounding like me. Well, I'm thinking, that's what your mother's supposed to tell you. So I
Yeah.
never, really, real talk. I never
Uh-huh.
took it. I never said, no, you're right, ma. Nobody play like me. No, I never said that. I was just here, whatever.
Mhm.
And my aunts and uncles used to tell me the same thing early on, but I didn't really pay it no mind. So,
I get it.
yeah.
I get it. So, the bass is not really normally known as a lead instrument, but you play it like one. So, when did that start for you?
Stanley Clark, the legend, the king, Stanley
Yes,
Clark
sir.
used to play lead. To this day, I still listen to Stanley. He's a forgotten bass hero in today's world. A lot of these cats don't know about Stanley. They just study these guys on IG who ain't really accomplished nothing yet. They can play like unbelievably, but as far as accomplishments and legacy, got to know your legacy, man. Stanley Clark, man, is School Days
Man,
to all those other songs.
yes,
Lisa is one of
indeed.
my favorite.
Scores the whole nine. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he did those movie scores, and
Absolutely.
Jocko did some lead stuff. Marcus Miller. So I heard those guys early on in my playing career. I love Jeffrey White for his funky creativity and grooves. But as far as lead lines, Stanley Clark, Marcus, Jocko, they really stuck out, and they really and BB King. Surprisingly, I love how BB King played lead guitar and Jonathan
Sure.
DeBose.
Sure.
So I couldn't sing, so I always tried to sing through my bass.
Yeah,
And I listened to the great singers like Marvin Winans, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway. I listened to those guys and tried to emulate what they were doing on the bass.
just with your
That's where
fingers. I got you.
that's where how much you could bear is a lead line. That's all it is. It's somebody kind of humming to themselves. So in King of Glory, a lot of that stuff was just real melodic. So it
For
just comes from
sure.
what's in my mind. I can't sing it, but I can play it though.
There you go. But that's part of the gift is that, being able to translate what you hear in your head. I think that's the height of creativity is translating what you hear in your head to create a sound that you heard in your head. And then once you do that, man, that's almost like a high.
Ain't that something? To me, creativity is like you said, a high. It's an amazing gift that because everybody can't do it, it doesn't get the praise and worship that it should get. Because we live in a world where if you can't do something, you're not going to spend too much time on it. You're going to
That's a
move on
fact.
and spend time what you can do, which is usually duplication. That's why
Sure.
duplication gets praised, worship, and gets his feet licked every day because that's what most people could do is duplicate. A lot of people can't create, so they're like, it's not for me. I'm moving on. I'm not spending no time on it. And that's sad because creativity is the king, bro. It will
For
always be
sure.
the king. Whatever you create will far outlast what you duplicate. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And if you can't create, there's somebody in your circle that can, and you should get with them and y'all should start making your own music. I'm tired of people saying, well, I can't create. But if you can't, somebody in your circle can. So stop with the
Absolutely.
I can't
They could bring
stuff.
out your ideas. You
That's
may
what I'm
not be able to do
saying.
it yourself. You could get with somebody to bring out your ideas. No question about it.
Exactly.
That's
And
for
I think a
sure.
lot of people need to stop getting off that I can't stuff. Find somebody around you that can, and you add to it. If you're a musician, you should be able to add to something for the meal for everybody to eat. If there's no chicken, you should be able to get in that kitchen and cook some chicken. If there's no potato salad, you should be able to
There you
put some
go.
potato salad together. If you can't do that, I mean, we got to start questioning if you really are a musician.
That's real talk. That's real talk. So listen, man, this is, we came on to talk about the new project, and this is your last project. So we got to do a little perspective here and get into a little perspective. If you had to pick your top three of the things that you're most proud of in your musical career, what would you pick? Or what would you say?
Mm, I'm proud of everything, but I am definitely proud of the legacy I left in gospel, not knowing that I had left one, which is a big statement. I didn't know I left a legacy because I wasn't doing it for that, doing it for
Sure.
the love. So I would say that's probably number two. Number one would be the music that I created on my own,
Mhm.
all my four records and three singles. Number three would be having my own sound, taking a chance in uh, getting my bass, which was a Pins Ashore 4-string. Nobody had one at the time in gospel. Victor Bailey, rest in peace, was the only one that had one on earth, to my knowledge. He had his first, and I believe that I was only the second one to have that bass. And you got to really have a lot of confidence in yourself to do something like that. Most people follow the crowd and
Sure.
just get the bass that everyone else is playing. I never was a crowd follower and never will be. So I took the chance and got my baby, who was in my hands right now,
Yes, indeed.
in
There she
1992,
is.
and it's still here, 2021.
Man. And all you
So
do is replace the strings.
that's it, man. I never changed much on here, and she's been a blessing to me, and I never knew that a bass could actually be a blessing to someone like this. I stayed faithful to her. She stayed faithful to me.
There you
And
go. Here we
I'm
go.
not
30
one to
some,
have
almost 30 years later.
I'm not one to have 15 bases and showcase that on Instagram. I don't need that. I got one base, and it's done more than a lot of people with 15, 20 bases is done. So it's not about the number. It's about what you have accomplished, the people you have inspired to accomplish their own things in music as well.
Definitely. And you've inspired a ton of people over these, this long career. And so now let's talk about the last OG. Let's talk about the last
It's a
OG.
triple OG.
I'm sorry, triple OG.
The
I'm sorry.
triple OG is the
I'm thinking
last
about the
album.
right. Thank you. You fixed it up for me. Appreciate it. Triple OG, final music project. So, man, you emptied your clip. It seems like with this one, man. 20 something. Like this is like the triple CD, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
when did you know that this was the final one?
You asking some? What are you doing? You was meditating with these questions, man.
Hey,
You asking
man,
some?
listen. I, I try to give you. You talk to people. All you got opportunities. I got to make sure I give you something that you haven't answered before. That's what makes my
When?
show unique. Yes, indeed.
Yes, that's a great question. I knew this was the last one, probably a couple of different ways. After I did Black and Beautiful, which I still love,
Great project.
I thank you, man. I just wish he got more, love, but I'll talk about that later. But I was tired after that because kind of drained that it didn't get the love that I felt
Mm,
it should have.
uh-huh.
But then I started writing more songs. I wrote the Groove Formula, Nation of Peace, and I was gonna put that on Black and Beautiful. Then I said, you know what? Let's wait, just wait. And then I started adding to it. But then my wife and I spoke, and she said, I know how much because Black and Beautiful was supposed to be the last one,
Was it okay?
and then I told her about this one. She wasn't too happy, but she understood. And then she said, music. I know how much you love music, but is it loving you back? And she
Mm,
said, you got so much more to give to this world besides music. And she kept telling me about going back to school, and I kept shunning her, like, nah, I ain't going back to school. I ain't going back. And then finally it hit me because I was working at Whole Foods for 13 months, and that just slapped me in the face with a baseball bat and woke me up. It's like either you're gonna do work the water aisle the rest of your life, or you're gonna go back to school and get yourself
mm,
together. So I
gotcha.
said, I'm gonna go back to school. It's time to move on from music. Can't keep spending money on records to do records. You don't really get anything back.
I understand.
My kids are older. My girls are in college. My son, 2 years left in high school, and so it was time. And I had a great run. There's nothing to hold my head down
No
about.
question.
You always hear me preaching about results over regrets, and I can say I have more results than regrets. And if you have more results than regrets, hey, you lived a great life, man. I left my legacy, and nobody can ever take that away from me. I don't care. I don't care if two people only like me. My legacy is there forever. There's nothing no
No
one could
doubt.
do about it.
No doubt about it. So, talk about the process of making this project. Was there ever
Woo.
any second thoughts?
Never. I never have second thoughts when all four records. I never had second thoughts. I never had to let any people listen to my songs and say, hey, do you like this? Do you think this melody is nice? No, I never. From how much you could bear from 1990, from I would go from 1994 to 2021 Triple OG. I never asked anybody for any advice. I just went on what I thought was dope,
Okay.
and I put it out. So there was never any doubts. I knew
Well,
this
let me
was special.
rephrase it. I would say, let me say it this way. Was there any second thoughts about this as you were creating it? this being the last project? Because you put so much music into this.
No, it wasn't. I knew it had to be because I was jumping. I went back to school for my master's degree in social work. I want to become a male therapist, and
Yeah,
you
we're gonna
can't
get into
sit.
that.
Yeah, you can't sit at the edge of the pool kicking your feet in the water when you go back to school for your grad level. You got to jump in the deep end, and I knew
Mhm.
I just couldn't do both. So just like I jumped in the deep end with my bass and constantly studying and pouring in knowledge, I had to do the same with that. So that's why. That's how we got to that conclusion. And it was perfect timing. God allowed me all of last year with the slowdown of COVID to shut down to focus on music and get my head right. And I'm a big believer in time. My father taught my brother and I, don't waste time. You got 24 hours in a day, make the best of it. Don't
That's
waste it.
it.
And that's what I did. I was able to write music, get all that done, and then by the time it was finished, I was able. Back in school in February. Record was basically done. And see, God worked all that out. Now I can focus on my studies and still be at peace from what I did musically. Of course, I would love my songs to be played on the radio so I could support my family through music, through a TV commercial, a movie. And God is still in charge. He knows where to find me. If he has something for me musically, you don't say no to him. When he speaks to
Sure.
me, I listen. But if he doesn't speak to me, I'm at peace with the musical journey he's given me. I have no regrets, and I thank him all the time for the musical gift because he could have chose somebody else,
Absolutely.
but he allowed me to be the one that he chose to bring bass intros to gospel and on the high level, and let people, even bass players today, know, hey, you could be at the forefront if you know what you're doing, and you thinking musical, you can add something to the song. Just make sure you get your business right, because if you do add to the song, that's production, and
Talk
you
about it.
your old
Talk
production
about
and
that. That's right. Talk about
publishing.
some points. That's it.
That's right. So
Talk about
that's
some.
where I made my mistake, but I don't hold back on it. I tell people my mistakes so they can prosper. And I'm gonna talk about that more often. I'm gonna do an Instagram on that, just to let people know, if you part of the creative process, you are old publishing buddy. If they don't want to give it to you, you sue them and take that intro, whatever it is that you added off the song. Make them create their own stuff.
Man, that's real. That is so real. Um, man, talk about, we kind of, you kind of alluded to it a little bit in terms of the production, but talk about the investment. Like anybody that's, independent or doing their own thing. Talk about the investment and the financial commitment that it takes to create a project.
Whew, it's expensive, man. Even if you get some people that will play for free, and you in a turn as a favor, when they start their turn, you play on theirs for free. It's still going to be expensive because you have to get it mixed, you have to get it mastered, you got to pay some musicians. That's
That's
expensive.
right. Right.
So it's
Studio
it's
time.
studio time. Yeah. I probably spent well over 100,000 over the four records, and I didn't get nowhere near that back. So people don't understand how much money goes into it. Sure, you can get somebody to play everything, and that way you're not really getting the true effect of what the song could be. If you just get one person to try to play all the instruments, it's just not going to be the same. So you got to spend horn sections. Of course, I paid the horn sections on. I had the Renaissance Man. I had more horns play that. And then
Yeah.
on Black and Beautiful, I had another horn section play Maria. Then I had another horn section on this one, Fearless. So you got to pay for that. But in the end, your legacy, when people hear that song, they're going to say, wow, he didn't skimp on the budget. They're going to know, wow, that sounds amazing. So it's worth it. And then you got to make sure the people that's mixing it is right, and they don't get offended by your comments when they send you the mix, because people
Mhm.
get sensitive. But
Got
you
to
got
be
to
open
tell
to
y'all,
feedback, no
yeah,
doubt.
bro, turn my bass up, bro. It's a bass project. You got me so low, bro. That bass sound like garbage. That's not my bass sound.
Fix it up, get it
Yeah.
right, no doubt.
So
So,
it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
it absolutely is. So now, you talked about it. You're making this transition into a new career in terms of mental health. Talk about that. What inspired you to choose that path, and and just talk about the importance of mental health.
My wife inspired me. She went back and got her not just her master's. She got about two, three master's degrees. She went back at 50 years old with three kids and got her PhD.
Oh, that's
Now
amazing.
she's now she's a psychotherapist. She sees clients on a regular, and she's making great differences in people's lives. And she kept telling me, there's no black male therapist nowhere,
Mm,
and they're in need. Everybody's asking for all these black males are asking, do we have black male therapists for them to see? And we have to say no, and they turn away and leave. She said
wow,
you would be great at that because you had so many experiences in life that you could share and give them wisdom. And she know a lot of the stuff I went through. You know, I lived a crazy life, brother. So I could
that's
give,
for another episode.
and I'll happily do it.
For
I lived a
sure.
crazy life, but I understand what black men go through. A lot of it is self-inflicted wounds, and that's the part that a lot of men don't want to talk about.
That's
When
real.
when you have a self-inflicted wound, you did it. You
That's
said yes.
that's what makes it self-inflicted.
Yeah, that girl didn't make you have sex with her. You willingly had sex,
That's a fact.
and now you hate her because she took you for child support, and you ready to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge because she asking you for more child support. Hey, you wasn't thinking that night at the club when she was looking good in those leggings or that skirt. I mean, let's just be real.
These are
And
facts.
I hear people complaining. I had a friend that was basically on the phone crying about child support. But you're not crying that night. Y'all, it was going down. So you just got to be real about life. And because I give a lot of people advice now, I've been probably a male therapist for the last 5 years.
Right,
Just
right. Now you just
from
gonna have the title bond and then be able
yeah, I
to
could get
be
the
efficient
paper.
with it. That's it.
So I'm a natural at it because my wife would say you're a natural at this.
You
It'll come
are. You give
easy for
jewels
you.
all the time, Reg. So that's I'm really excited that you're pursuing this path.
Thanks, man. I'm looking forward to it. I start my internship in September. So yeah, you got in life sometimes you got to have that paper to make the
Oh yeah.
difference in your life. So and I'm so glad I listened to my wife because I feel better about myself being in school and doing papers. And even though it can be a pain in the butt sometimes, the journey is well worth it. I think about facing that aisle in the water aisle in Whole Foods, and that sets me straight. Say, hey, either complain about this
Hey,
paper
that's
or
your
go back up.
motivator. Right. That's
Right,
right.
right.
It's your
I'm not.
motivator.
I ain't going back to Whole Foods, bro.
I heard
That's
that.
not happening.
I heard that. So listen, man. I know we got a few minutes here left.
Yeah, I got
So
like 10 minutes.
okay. So you're always dropping jewels, on your social media. Kind of talk to the young musician about setting themselves up for longevity. Talk about the importance of what we alluded to a little bit. The importance of the business side in terms of the back end, in terms of the publishing, in terms of all of those different things on the business side that sometimes as creative people we don't know. So kind of talk to some young musicians or some up and coming or some people that's new to the business, that some jewels that you could share that that they should know.
Well, like I said before, if you're a musician and you add in the creative process, somebody asks you to create a bass line for a song or an intro for a song, that's production, homie. Or my sister. Yeah, if they come to you and the song already has a bass line, they're just saying play this. That's not production. But if they saying,
Right.
yo, I need a bass line for this
Mhm.
song, you creating. Yeah, I need an intro. That's creating. So you gotta make sure you have your little LLC, your production company on the side set up, ready to go. Reggie Parker Music. Just keep it simple, and you gotta make sure if you know a lawyer, a music lawyer, have one ready. Say, hey man, I wrote this intro and they use it on a song. I didn't get no production. And you don't be scared to speak up, especially church folk, because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. Freak hurting their feelings. This is business.
It's
Get your
business.
money.
Hmm.
And never be scared to speak up. That's a problem. A lot of people are so timid. Grown men walking around with big muscles and acting big and bad, timid as heck when it comes to business and speaking up. How you ever gonna know what's in your mind if you don't speak up? I didn't say punch the person in the face. I said
Right, right.
speak up.
That's it. Just state, state what you are entitled to. That's all you're
That's all
doing
I'm.
is that you just
That's
stating to what you're entitled to.
absolutely. You say, hey, we need to talk. We need to have a conversation. That's all you got to do. And with a pastor too, if you don't like the situation you in, just have a conversation. And if it don't work, then just leave. But as far as business sides go, you have to study the business because the business has changed, so much now. It's probably going to change in the next 5 years. So it's just a different world. It's hard to keep up with, especially when you get a family and you got different responsibilities. But I would say this though: time waits for no one. Make sure you have a plan B and a plan C, maybe a plan D. If your plan A is music, you better have a plan B because there ain't no guarantee. If it's 10 of y'all, maybe 2 of y'all might make it. When I say make it, that means you might be able to get some sort of gig that pays you continuously. Because if you want to make it as a musician, you got to be paid. You got to work continuously. Because when you get a
Right.
job, you get that bi-weekly check because you working every week. Same thing with music. And it's hard to find those gigs unless you talk at church. I mean, all black musicians think about is church, playing in church. It's like the easiest money to get. I mean, we got to get out of that habit because you get stuck just playing in church. Go get you a career.
Hmm.
Go to school, get that master's degree, become a teacher, a lawyer, doctor. Why not?
So many
And then
aspects.
you won't have to worry about playing at a church on Sunday morning. If you do, it's changed to you. It's just extra money. You're not relying on that to pay your cell phone bill or your mortgage.
Hmm.
But now
Yeah.
so many of my brothers and sisters just want to play at church. Church, church, church. That's all people think about. New Year's Eve, how many churches I could play at? Easter, how many churches I could play at? It's just go. I'm like, yo, bro, we got to do better than just playing in a church. It's just like my black brothers that just want to play basketball. There's more to life than just that. Everybody's not gonna get drafted.
Hmm.
What happens then? You keep playing, but what are you gonna do to make money?
Right. There's
Just
so many
just
other avenues
that's
than
what I'm
just that,
saying.
just that lane. Yeah.
And listen, music might not be your gift, so you might not ever prosper. And that's the part people don't want to hear. Music might not be your gift. Maybe that's why you can't get any better after 10 years. That's a red flag. You got to say,
And
maybe that's why I stink right now. I can't really get any better because it's not your gift. I can't play basketball. I used to play decent. I wasn't no great basketball player. I knew enough to know, nah, this ain't for me. And a lot of musicians have to know. See, Instagram messed a lot of people up because they feel entitled. Because they could play just the two of us on bass. They think they're a bass player. You're not. You're not a bass player. Even if you're a pretty young lady and you put on your little pretty outfit and you get 1 million likes and you can play just two, you're not a bass player. There's way more to it than that. And I think a lot of people think they're musicians when they're really not. You might be an IG musician, but you're not a true musician.
yeah, because
If
there's a
I
big
bring,
difference between playing 30 seconds and playing a minute,
it's a big
to
difference
actually
playing
playing
a
4 or 5 minutes or, 20, 30 minutes.
it's a
Big
big difference
difference.
from playing a cover tune with a blueprint and me calling you to the studio, say, I
Right.
need you to learn this
Uh-huh.
original song. Oh, by the way, there's no bass line. You got to make
Right.
one up.
You got to create it. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
That's
wait,
why
and
we're
that was
talking about
you. That was you on IG with all those likes, though, right? What do you mean you can't make a bass line up? So you're a fake musician? Oh, you don't want me to say nothing? Okay, I got you.
that. That's the
See,
difference.
that's how the
That's the
world goes then.
creative. Yeah. That's when you know you're not a creative, when you can't create something from scratch.
Well, I mean, some people, they faking it on Instagram every day, and they don't get exposed. When you get exposed, it hurts, and you kind of like, shh. I don't want nobody to know.
Mhm.
Well, what everybody got their cameras out? What if somebody went live and showed the part where they actually created a baseline and you couldn't do it?
Yeah.
It's live, bro. Everybody
Yeah.
just saw it.
Yeah.
Now you're not that dude no more.
That's real, man.
So
That's
I keep
real.
I keep preaching to people to be creative, but people like I said, if you can't do something, you're gonna look down at it because you can't do it. So and that's a problem.
For sure. So listen, let's wrap up with this. Um, shout out your social media if people are looking to connect to you, how they can follow you, and shout out the project one more time and tell people where they can get it.
Well, I'm only on IG. Reggie Parker 4. I'm off Facebook. Facebook is to me just went down the tube. It's not for me anymore. So just follow me on Instagram at Reggie Parker number 4. The album Reggie Parker Triple OG is on all digital platforms: iTunes, Apple Music. You know the whole schmeal. So
No doubt.
it's on my
And also
website, Reggie
the
Parker.
rest of the projects too. Talk about the other projects that people can
All
go
all
get
the
in.
all the
Yeah,
projects
yeah,
on
get
all
them.
the digital
Yeah,
platforms. You got the first one is called Snapshots. My first one. That's a beautiful record. You got the Renaissance Man. Then you got my single "Will I Ever Hear You Say" was a beautiful song. Black and Beautiful project. Then
yeah.
you have Fearless, another single
Yes,
was
sir.
killing. Then
Yes,
you
sir.
have Triple OG. So Black and Beautiful is I got a nice amount of music out
You
right now.
do,
So
man. You do. So listen, man, salute to you for a great career. If this is the end, you never know. God has the final say on that, so we're not going to
yes,
totally, close the door. But if this is it, you salute to you because you have had a tremendous career. You've influenced so many people, and this
thank you,
last
brother.
project is super dope. So all my listeners, anybody that's into music, you can find whatever type of music you want on this joint. It's a literal musical buffet.
I like Kenya. Kenya is one of my favorite. It just makes me think. It sounds like you in the safari somewhere and just over on a drone watching the animals in
Man,
the
you ain't
wild.
you great stuff, man. So listen, man, thanks again for being on. You're welcome on anytime. We're gonna have to do a part 3 and talk about the mental health thing because that's
Yeah,
a whole in-depth conversation
you
that
got to let me
especially our
know.
people. You already
Yeah,
know what it is, man.
it's needed, man. It's needed, and a lot of times black men they keep their feelings to themselves and try to be macho, and that's never good. Everybody's going through something and got to be able to talk about
No doubt. All right, Reg. All the best again. Congratulations and thanks for being on Any Key Radio Show.
it. Anytime, man. Keep doing big things, brother.
Yes, sir. We'll do.
Peace and love.
Absolutely. All right.